It's a lovely lake while you wait. Camp WALABEAR, Camp WALABEAR. Come on in and let us show you around the place. Even when it's raining, we got sunshine. At WALABEAR, we always have a fun time. Camp WALABEAR, Camp WALABEAR. Come early and you'll never leave too late.
What have we here? Let's see, that looks like a bridge, but you know, there's a truck. Obviously, that's a bridge. And is that truck going to go over the bridge? That would make sense, right? That bridge looks like it could be made out of cardboard or paper or something. I mean, paper's great and all, but I don't know if it's strong enough to hold that truck. I don't know. Uh-oh. Oh, that's paper. That's definitely paper. And I don't know if that's a good. Good. Oh, glad. Yeah, I didn't think that was a good. No, wait. What are you doing? Wait. What are you doing? What? Well, look. They're driving that truck over that bridge. They have a paper, and it's strong enough to hold it. That's amazing. That's incredible. I wonder how they did that. I'd really like to know how they did that. Well, I think we're going to learn, as you can see by the stuff here, because we've got some very, very special guests here. We have some visiting wizards from International Paper here to show us how to make our own bridge out of paper. How about a big Camp WALABEAR welcome for the visiting wizards? We have Fred Evans. Darn swell to have you. And Carrie Figgle.
Nice meeting you.
Glad to have you here. I understand we're going to make our very own bridge, kind of like in what we just saw there.
Yes.
And we're going to learn about tension and compression. And
yes, we think we have a lot of experiments that will interest your happy campers here.
Oh, I certainly hope so. I'm pretty interested right now, and we're also going to have a almost live report from our pal Info Bob in the basement of the science building, and maybe our old pal J. Walter Wallbanger will give us a few tips on how to navigate that happy road called life, and we're going to get everything rolling right after this. So stick around. It's going to be great, guys. And we are back, and we're visiting with our visiting wizards, and they're about to share with us some way swell stuff. And without further ado, Mr. Visiting Wizard Carey, lay it on us. We're ready.
Okay, great. Well, as you all saw, we were able to drive a truck over a bridge made out of paper. Now, normally we don't think of paper as being that strong. We think of paper as being something that's weak because it's normally thin, okay, and flexible, and we use it for a lot of applications. But to have paper this thin and still to withhold its shape, it has to be pretty strong because we use it to carry groceries, we use it to pack a lot of goods. So paper has a lot of strength. In fact, we make paper out of wood. So the very same fibers that give wood its strength gives paper its strength. Yes, so what we are going to be doing is trying to show a few experiments using paper that will show some engineering principles. Will also show us what strength we can get out of paper.
What kind of engineering principles are we doing?
Well, what we're going to be talking about is tension and compression. So do any of your campers know what tension is? Yes.
When you pull things apart.
Yes, when you pull something, that places it in tension. How about compression? Yes.
Push things together.
That's right. And so if we take paper, we push it together, what happens? It buckles, right, okay? But we could take it and pull on it, and it's pretty strong. Well, when you think about it, that's not very much different than steel, and we see steel used in a lot of constructions, because we could take steel and a little coat hanger here and pull on it, and I certainly can't pull it apart, but now if I push it together, it buckles quite readily, okay? And so it doesn't have the stiffness, but what we're going to use on the paper is we're going to try to use a lot of its tensile strength, okay? A lot of its strength and tension. So let's do a little experiment here. I'd like to see if we could have two campers try to pull apart a sheet of paper here.
Okay.
Think you could do it? It's only paper.
Let's
have two volunteers here. Okay?
Okay.
You grab one side and you grab the other. Okay, before we do this, We have to
Okay,
worry about
yeah.
safety. Counselor Carl, come on this side. Fred on the other.
Now we don't
Because-
need safety glasses for this.
No
Okay.
safety glasses, okay? What I want you to do is pull hard as you can. Now you can't, we don't want you to tear it or twist it, but try to just pull that paper apart, okay? Pull hard.
Okay.
Now it's just a sheet of paper. Are you pulling hard? Okay. Let's try, okay, when we're able to do it there, let's go and let's make a little less paper right there. We'll go and put a cut in there, cut some of that out. Okay, let me do that on the other side.
That's pretty strong there.
Yeah, well, it's getting it down. It's probably, we started off with 6 inches of paper, and right now it looks like, we're somewhere around 3 inches, okay? So let's see if we can pull that apart. Just pull straight on it, okay? Hard. Still not 3 inches of paper, okay. Are you pulling as hard as you can? Let's try again.
Paper's a tough cookie here.
Yes, it is, okay? Because as I said, it's the same fibers that give wood its strength, because we take those and we make paper out of it. So in doing that, we are getting a substance that can have very similar strength properties. So now we're down to about 2 inches.
Wow.
Try it one more time. Just pull it straight and hard. Okay, don't twist it. Okay. Still holding. Let's try one more time, see if we can do it. So as you see, we're getting down to the point. It doesn't take very much paper, and we could hold up the strength of 2 people pulling on it.
Now what, you said that you use the strongest fibers from the tree. Where
Well, we
on
use the
tree?
fibers from the tree. We take the whole tree,
Okay.
and we digest it to get the fibers from that. So now we're right at about 1 inch. Okay, let's pull it hard. Oh, there we go.
Whoa. Shazam.
Okay, so we were down this far before we were able to pull it apart. So does that change your mind a little bit about paper? You think maybe it has more strength? Okay. Now we start talking about tension and compression also. That explains a lot of things in engineering to us. For example, I could take a weight and put it on a yardstick, okay? And what happens now? It bows, right?
Kind of
Okay.
bends.
Now if I take that same weight and the same yardstick and I turn it like this, it's now very stiff across there.
Look at that.
And I'm supporting the weight. And the reason is going back to tension and compression. You know, when we bend something like this, the top part of the stick is being placed in compression. It's pushing in. The bottom part is being stretched out. But since those forces are not separated by very much distance, okay, it has to bend a lot to support it. When we turn the yardstick like this, now our tension and compression forces are separated by a much greater distance. And now we can support more weight because of that. And we're going to be using that concept as we go through a number of bridges today. So let's go and try one right here now.
Okay. Let's do it.
Now, if we just wanted to take a sheet of paper and put it across, okay, you know, doesn't support the weight very well. Doesn't even hold its own weight up, right? Okay, this is just what we'd call a plate, just putting it across there. Now, again, as we do this, we're going to be looking at why things fail. So if I could take a number of these and put them together, a number of these sheets, we still have the same thing, it sags. Okay. And the reason is these things aren't connected. So what's happening is we're having a failure occurring right in here because of the weight. It's what we call, it's generating a moment or a bending force across this. Now all these individual sheets end up slipping, so we're having a shear or a slipping force. See how these all will
So it's just a big
slip
old
together?
mess, really.
Now if I take that same number of sheets and I glue them together and put them across there, then we have something that is again much stronger. It still has the same force and it's still bending. I could put like 1.25 pounds on there, 2.5 pounds, it starts bowing pretty good. But what's occurring now is those shear forces that before slipped with these individual sheets are now being held because of the glue.
So you don't have as much stuff kind of wiggling around.
Right. So for a bridge, we could say, okay, we could go and take this in this situation, and we're building a bridge. What we have here is piers at the end, and we're spanning a certain distance. So if we were going to do the same thing with steel, because remember, as we said, that paper is going to act much like the steel does in tension and compression, right? Because we showed that before. So if we'd go and take steel and we made it thicker and thicker for a bridge, it would end up supporting more weight. But that's not a very good way to be building it, just with a straight structure across here. Okay? What we need to do is to build something so we can get those forces of tension and compression farther apart.
And to really work in
Right.
the best way possible.
We just don't want to be adding more material. We want to use the material in a better way so that we can still build a good structure at a lower price, at a lower cost.
Okay.
And probably
Thinking
build one
smart.
that's better.
Okay.
Okay?
Wow. That's great, and we're going to get into building this in just one second, but I've just been informed that we have an update from our pal Info Bob, who's coming to us almost live from the basement of the science building. So Bob, take it away.
Thanks, Carl. Info Bob here, coming to you almost live from the basement of the science building, where we have made yet another amazing discovery. Now, a bridge, by definition, is a structure designed to carry pedestrians or vehicles across obstacles. Now, the earliest bridges most likely were fallen tree trunks or stones that had been thrown across a stream or a ravine or another obstacle, as I mentioned before. Now, today, bridges are much more complex, and they fall into three categories, being beam, arch, and suspension. Now, suspension bridges are made out of thousands of yards of steel cable and reinforced concrete. And the longest suspension bridge here in the United States is the Verrazano Narrows Bridge in New York City, which goes across New York Harbor, and it is 4,260 feet long. However, the longest suspension bridge in the entire world is the Humber Bridge, which is in England, and it is 4,626 feet in length. I'm Info Bob, coming to you almost live from the basement of the science building.
And we're back, and we continue to span new horizons. So, what do we do now?
Well, what we're going to be doing now is we're going to be going and taking the paper and building some bridges out of it. Now, this is the same paper that we used before, but I have it folded into a channel shape. A channel is just, the piece of paper with the edges folded up, and this is one of the shapes they also use in steel as a channel. Now, if we go and take a shape like this and we put a block on it, we could then see how strong it is.
But without
We
it,
start loading weight.
There you go. But when it wasn't folded up and was flat, that would have just bowed
That's
on.
right. Well, it didn't hold its own weight when it was flat. As you recall, it just went straight on down. So it's the same paper, just the shape. Now, if we go and we can turn it also with the flanges or the edges down. And when we do that, we can load that up again. Okay. Put the same two blocks on, and it's holding now.
Wow.
Why is that?
Don't know.
Well, the reason is, again, going back to the tension and compression. We can hold more weight with the open end down because the open end is under tension, and we saw how strong the paper is in tension. When we place it up like this, the top edges are now in compression, and they tend to buckle on us.
Okay.
So by placing these edges down, we're always having more strength. And the other thing that we can do to really increase the strength of this is to put a piece of tape over there. And this is, in terms of structure, this is a strut. And what this is going to do is prevent the middle from bowing out and felling on us. Now, if we load this particular structure, okay, we can now, let's start off with 1.25 pounds. Take that weight, and we could add on another 1.25 pounds.
Whoops.
And it fell. So it fell to 2.5 force. Okay. And now one way of trying to get more strength again is to increase the size of the flange. First time we had 1/2 inches. Now these are 1-inch flanges that we have on there.
So,
And we would expect that this should be a little stronger for us. Okay?
Because of tension, correct? Because there's
Right, because again, going back to the ruler, what we are doing is we are, in essence, taking it from the flat shape and turning more of it in this direction. So we're getting more load carrying ability.
we're using the material more efficiently.
Yes.
Okay.
So now if we load it on there, somebody want to do this for me? Go ahead, go ahead. Put the first one on. That's 1.25 pounds.
Now, what kind of bridge is this right here?
That is a beam bridge.
Okay, where they take a big beam and set
Yes,
it. Okay.
Okay, go put another one on there. So now we're holding the 2.5. Let's put this one on there now. That will make it 3 3/4. Oh.
Still
Put that one on there, and we're up to 5.
5 pounds. Oh! Thank you for playing. We have some lovely parting gifts for you backstage. So
Okay.
So this was a strut bridge, correct?
A beam bridge.
Beam bridge. I'm sorry. Take off 2 points for Counselor Carl. Now, you have some other examples of other kind of bridges.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, one thing we want to do is that if we go and look at these bridges, one thing we will find, this is the same bridge. If you notice, there are a lot of holes in this one. Okay. I've cut holes across here, and I've cut some of the paper back on the edges. And so what we would think is we would have something that would be, what, a lot less strong? But if we go and test this, okay, what we should find is something that will start off at 2.5, okay?
Pretty strong.
And we put on the 3 3/4 of which we held before. And so we're up to the same load-carrying ability, even with all the paper missing. And then we're up to the 5 pounds.
Okay.
Okay? So even because we have less material here and less paper, we still have the same strength in this particular bridge. And the reason is that right here, the places that I've cut out the paper, that does not really affect the strength. In fact, the strength really comes from this center part. So if I now go and take this same bridge and I make some cuts right here in the center, right there like this, we will find that very quickly that we have a bridge that is a lot less strong and that fails very easily. Okay? And we've removed a lot less material, so it's where the material is located.
Wow. Could we maybe get together in a second and make our own bridges? Could we do that? Could we team up? Because you've been talking and you're thinking if you make a bridge, it takes probably a bunch of people working together on it. And so why don't we huddle up and see what we can come up with, and while we're doing that, check in with our pal J. Walter Wallbanger, who's going to help us out a little bit on this neat thing that we're doing here with bridges. So take it away, JWW. Well, hey there. As you can see, I'm working on a big deal. Of course, when you're my size, everything's a big deal. Speaking of big, that reminds me of what I wanted to talk to you about. Now, have you ever been riding in the car and gone over a big old bridge and wondered how it got there? Well, if you haven't, just play along, okay? You might learn something. Sure, that bridge may be made of thousands of tons of steel and concrete, but one thing and one thing alone made that bridge possible: teamwork. You see, there were a bunch of people involved in building that bridge. Engineers, architects, construction workers, all coming together to help build that bridge. What's my point? Simple. If we all work together as a team, we can bridge any gap. So until we meet again, I'd like to remind you to keep plugging, and always remember that you're never too small to think big.
This is a Camp WALABEAR special edition of Action News 10.
Good morning, happy campers. I'm James Gordon, and this is WALABEAR News. Zoos across the country have been welcoming new and rare wildlife to their facilities since the beginning of this year, and that tradition continues this week. Zoo officials at the San Jose Zoo in California welcomed 2 baby wallabies to their new home. The furry creatures, who are members of the kangaroo family, are on the endangered species list and now bring the number of wallies in the United States to 72. And kids, watch out this summer because summer is upon us, and pretty soon you'll be begging your parents to take you on to an amusement park. Now, right now, all eyes are on the Kentucky Kingdom Amusement Park, which unveiled an $8 million T2 roller coaster. Look at that. It features 40 terrifying seconds of hard twists, turns, and loops. There are only 2 like it in the world. But you don't ride in a car. Instead, you're strapped on so that your legs dangle in the wind. Can you just imagine being hanging from that thing? Now, as this roller coaster dips and turns, it goes into all sorts of wild directions. Boy, take Mom and Dad on that ride, won't you? And if roller coasters aren't your cup of tea, that's if you drink tea. I don't know if you do or not, but anyway, check out these young students in Seattle, Washington. It was the annual Lunch Box Derby, where 4th and 5th graders got to play with their food. Now, they all competed against one another by racing cars that were built completely out of vegetables. Now, the race was part of a campaign to teach kids just like you all about nutrition. And that's WALABEAR News for today. I'm James Gordon. Thanks for joining us. Take care, dudes.
We are back, and we can look at the fruits of our teamwork here, can't we?
Yes, so how we built some bridges while we were away, and what we have here is something that is based upon a fan fold or corrugation where we've taken the paper and just folded it back and forth. Someone want to load some weights on there for me? How much it holds. Good. Put another one on there.
Dun, 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 dun.
Okay.
Wow.
And slipped and fell right there on us, okay? But basically, the corrugation is a very common concept that we used. In fact, if you look at the inside of a cardboard box, what you will find is corrugation.
Little fan folds, and it makes
little fan folds in there.
Makes
and
it
that
stronger.
gives paper a lot of strength.
Okay.
And you also see that in many times steel and plastics, okay? Another bridge that was built is a
Truss bridge.
truss bridge, right? And a truss is another word for triangle. We're building triangles here. So now as we start loading some weight on there, I have some confidence. Let's see if we can slip some. Slip a 2.5 pound inside.
Pretty strong.
Yeah. As we begin loading it, we see that we're getting a lot of strength out of there. And what this is just this concept of triangles supporting the weight, because triangle is a strong form. Can you put that other weight in there for me?
How many pounds?
So we're up to 7.5 pounds in there.
Strong bridge.
But I think it will support more if we had, let's say, put some more right on the top. We can see I'm just balancing that right there. And that's really 10 more pounds on the top. We can see that it's holding the weight.
Wow.
The trouble is we just don't have enough room to slide them in there. But, you know, again, by using the paper, we're able to put, this time, 17 pounds of weight on this bridge.
Now, can you, like, mix different kinds of materials and things like that?
Yes, that's what I have to show you right here.
Oh, okay.
Is something that we've done is basically we just have 2 sheets of paper in here and some polystyrene in the middle. And basically that's all glued together. And the weight of this bridge, the strength of it is going to be supplied by the paper, which is going to be handling both the compression and the tension forces. But what we've done is separate the paper using this other material. Okay?
Wow.
And now if you want to put the weights on there, why don't we start with the big ones first? I have confidence that's going to hold a lot of weight for us there.
There we go.
That's 5 pounds. Can you put that on? There's another one.
Still holding.
Okay. And go put the rest of them on there.
There we go. That's gonna.
And all that's just 2 sheets of paper. Okay. And what we're doing is, again, it's being held, and so it's prevented from slipping because, again, we talked about the shear earlier on, so that we don't allow the shear forces to really allow it to slip.
Now, what about, you know, like big suspension bridges with all the steel cables? We got one of those.
We have an example of that here. What we're doing in this case is we're just building a structure here to allow us to have a suspension bridge. Okay? And in this, really, the trick of it is you're transferring all of the weight back to these tall columns. Okay? So now we can go, and let me just level this a little bit here. Now we could go and take another element. So do we have another fan fold there? Okay.
Okay.
Just going to take this particular beam and put it across there. Now we can begin loading that. And as we load that, it's going to have a lot of strength, even though it's not being supplied a whole lot by the beam right now, because we're transferring the weight back to these columns.
So it's all working together. That's amazing. You know, you can find out a lot more about bridges. You can ask your teacher at school. You can go to the library and look it up on that fancy schmancy CD-ROM encyclopedia they have. You know, if you're interested in being an engineer or an architect or something like that, that's probably a good place to get started.
And that's one of the things we're trying to do here is to encourage school children and your campers here to have an interest in science and engineering, so that maybe later on they will have an interest in studying those type of things in school.
Well, how about a big hand for our visiting wizard guests?
Thank you.
That about does it. Drop us a note if you get a chance. Camp WALABEAR, P.O. Box 1548 in Mobile, Alabama, 36633, and let us know what you think. So happy campers, until next time, see ya!